Okay, so let's get started. Oh, damn it. Now, it's a little dark there. So the very first card we'll be resolving is the Pensabat Expedition. And says expedition fails and ships scuttled. Remove 3 Patriot militia. Well, Patriots resources down by 2. Not really too worried about someone taking that. I'm not sure. I'm getting used to the bots as we speak, so I'm not 100% sure if that's something the bots would automatically be taking or not. Then if I take it though, as the U.S. Patriots, place 1 fort or village and 3 militia or war parties in Massachusetts. I already have a fort in Massachusetts, so don't really think that makes sense for me either. So I think I will do command and special activity as the U.S. to start off the game, because that event doesn't seem very helpful, and I don't think I'm too worried about the British taking it, but we'll see. Will be interesting to see how the bot system works. So I'll do command and special activity, and I'm still becoming an expert for the non-player or for the player faction as well. I can imagine I need to get more pieces on the board, which would mean rallying and maybe do a skirmish. Or persuasion. Persuasion sounds like a good idea. Get more resources. I don't think that could hurt. So let's do that. We'll do the persuasion first, which says up to 3 colonies / cities with rebellion control and patriot pieces, including underground militia. For each colony. So I'm going to do. So it's max 3. I'm going to do Philadelphia. I'm going to do Georgia. And I'm going to do North Carolina. And it says I have to have control. I do. And then for each space selected, I just add a patriot resource and then activate 1 underground militia and then place 1 propaganda marker in each. So I flip Philadelphia, I flip the militia in North Carolina, I flip the militia in Georgia. That will give me 5 resources. So now I'm up to 5 with the French and the British. And then it says I add a propaganda marker to each of those spaces as well, which I think just makes it more difficult for the British to change the support of each of those. So now I have 5 resources to work with for my rally action. And for the rally action, it says any spaces without active support. A militia may not be placed in an Indian reserve space or the West Indies. And then 1 resource per selected, place 2 militia or replace 2 units with 1 fort. Well, I know New York's about to get probably attacked at some point, so I'm wondering if oh, okay. So if Patriot Fort, if Patriot Fort may instead place militia up to population plus forts, or move adjacent militia there and flip all militia underground. If desired, replace any militia in any one space containing a fort with Continentals. So I need to decide which spaces I actually want to do this command in. And New York seems like a logical spot. And Massachusetts seems logical. Any spaces without active support. Militia may not be placed, yeah. 2 units. Or replace 2 units with 1 fort. So I think for Massachusetts, it's definitely, it says if Patriot Fort may, so I'm knocking down for 3 at least. Instead, place militia up to population plus forts. So I can place up to 3 militia in Massachusetts. So that's Massachusetts. Then for New York, I don't think it's worth replacing the 2 units with a fort. Because then I'm only down to a single unit. So I feel I have to do the place 1 militia, which also doesn't seem very cost effective to basically be paying 1 resource for 1 militia, but I'm learning how to play this game. And then it says if desired, so I'm going to quick do a rule check on if the desired, because I'm thinking I would want to do that in Massachusetts and get rid of some of those militia and turn them into Continentals. And I just want to make sure there's not any restrictions with that, because the Patriots may select 1 rally space with a Patriot fort and replace any militia with Continentals. Alright, well, I feel like I got to do that then in Massachusetts, and I'm going to replace 3 of those militia, well, all 3 of the militia I just placed with 3 hardy Continental units. And that, and then, okay, now I have to determine if I do want to throw in 1 more if I do want to bother throwing in 1 more I can do up to 3 more recruiting spots if it makes sense, or rally spots, I should say. Place 1 militia or replace 2 units with 1 fort. I feel I should try to maximize the ability, and it's just a matter of, okay, well then where... Am I dumb and overthinking this and just in any space without active support? Because it's like, okay, well, I'll put them in one in Pennsylvania, one in Maryland, and that's control of 4 more population, which seems really good. And that's maybe it is really good, and that's exactly what I should be doing. Or maybe, no, that's dumb. Don't do that. Rally without active support and pay 1 resource per space selected. In each space, place 1 available militia. And I just don't know, do I go and use up all my resources? Man, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go 3 resources. I'm going to take then the 3 militia, 1 in Delaware, 1 in Pennsylvania, 1 in Rhode Island, Connecticut. I'm going to add control to each of those spaces. And that's 3 more resources, but seems like that would make sense. So that part, that's now done. So now it's the British. The first AI turn we'll have here. The British. Let's see what they're supposed to do. So let's just take a look at the guide together. So it seems a little unfocused, so I apologize. But according to this, it says for the event, Eventer command, check event instructions. Play the unshade event if any, the opposition is greater than support. It is, and event shift support / opposition in the royalist favor. No. Event places British pieces from unavailable. No. Event places Tory in active opposition where there's none. British fort in a colony with none. Or British regulars in a city or colony. Nope. Event inflicts rebel casualties. I think remove is just putting them back into available. So not casualties, so no. And then British control 5+ cities. The event is effective and a D6 roll 5+. Alright, I don't know what the event is effective and D6 rolls 5+. So British control 5+ cities. Do they? They control Florida, Virginia. Oh, city. Is it cities, did it say? Cities, okay. They control New York City. They control Quebec City. That's it. So the answer then to me is no for that last one. So that then means no event. We go to British resources greater than 0. That's 5. So yes. 10+ British regulars on the map, and rebels control a city without a rebel fort. That's a yes, because we control Philadelphia without a fort, and 10 British regulars on the map. 1, 2, 3. Go back to the main map. They have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They have greater. So then that's a yes. So that means it's a garrison. So they're going to do a limited garrison command with no special activity in an origin spaces with British control. Leave 2 more royalists than rebel pieces and remove. So I have to first read what. I have to first reread what the garrison's supposed to do. Move any British regulars from any spaces to cities. In each city that is not blockaded, activate 1 militia for. Then, if desired, in 1 city, displace. Okay. So they're just moving things from any spaces to cities. Okay, that's simple enough. In origin spaces with British support control. So let's take out the pawns that I had used in my turn to help me track this. In origin spaces with British control. So, origin spaces with British control. So I think that includes New York City, New York Colony, that might include Quebec, and that might include Florida. I have to look up the definition for royalist. I think it's Tory. British and Indian factions. Alright, so. Okay. In origin space with British control, have 2 more royalists than rebel pieces. So yes, that's the case for all of the ones that I just put. So it looks like it's those 3 spaces. New York Colony, New York City. Oh, 4 spaces. Yeah, New York City, New York Colony, Quebec, and Florida. Okay. Leave 2 more royalists than rebel pieces, and remove last regular only if population is 0 or active support. So it's just regulars. So for New York City, they would have, I think, 4 that they would move because they want 2 more. In New York, they need at least 2 more. But they only remove that last one if population is 0, which it's not, or active support, which it's not. So they will keep at least 1 there. In Quebec, if they get rid of the 1 there, they'll still have more. They'll still have enough control. 2 more than Patriots, and then Florida, population 0, so they'll move this one as well. So that's a total of 1, 2, 6, 8 that will get distributed. Okay, so move. First, just enough to have British control. So first, we're most rebels without Patriot Fort. Most rebels without Patriot Fort would be Philadelphia. And let me quick reference the playbook example for this, because I know this is, I think, the very first playbook example for AI movement. Okay. Second example, maybe Garrison. Oh, yeah, I ignored Quebec City correctly. So it was 8. That's the exact same 8 that I'll move, which is exactly like the example. To figure out, so it's only to cities. Since there is currently 1 militia, it will take 2 regulars to add British control there. The origin spaces are selected using the random spaces table. So there's a random table. So this is like the table used to figure out a random space whenever needed. So we're going to do that now. To figure out which of those 4 spaces that British regulars will be moving from. And let's get out the dice here. So this was a 2, and then I had a 1. Two and a 1. Now if we bring back the chart here, red 1, black 2 is Quebec province / New York. Quebec has 1 unit that we would be able to move. This guy, so this one will be going to Philadelphia. And Philadelphia still does not have control yet because the garrison says first just enough to have British control. So we will need 1 more unit going to Philadelphia, which means we do another roll. 5 and 2. And a black 5, 2 is Southwest in Virginia, which did not have any units to contribute. So we go down to Charlestown, no units there. South Carolina didn't have any. Savannah, none. Florida, yes. So the second unit that we will be taking for this garrison of those 8 is from Florida. And now Florida and Quebec have both contributed the units that they had. So that means the control of Philadelphia unfortunately falls back to those redcoats. We still have some more units to distribute. So let's go back to the garrison chart. Full chart here for the AI. So first, just enough to have British control. First, were most rebels without a Patriot fort. Okay, that was Philadelphia. That was the only one like that. Then New York City. But New York City already has control, so I think we skip New York City. Okay, so the example says we first make sure we take out the 2 resources for this command since they did act the command. Now we just randomly select the remaining cities of the 7 available, or 7. So they're not 7 available. I think there's only, whatever, however many. So we randomly decide the next city. So black 4, red 3. Black 4, red 3. Georgia is not a city. So we go down. Boston. Boston is a city. Did I mess up the start? Does Boston really not start with anyone? I guess not. So Boston is the next city that will be taking a regular. Now we roll to see where the regulars are coming from. So 6, black 6, red 3. Black 6, red 3, Massachusetts. And we know it's going to have to be New York City or New York Colony. So we start from the back. New York Colony. So going back to the main map, 1 unit from New York Colony is now relocated to Boston, giving the Redcoats now control over Boston. So now we go back to the randomizer chart to find out the next city location. The British are going to be trying to move units to black 1, red 3. So if we look here, black 1, red 3, North Carolina, not a city, Savannah is a city. So now we roll to see if that unit will be coming from New York. So black 2, red 1. Black 2, red 1 actually is New York. So the last New York unit goes to Savannah. So there's a regular now in Savannah, meaning British have control over Savannah. And that means we have 4 regulars in New York City that can be dispersed. And can they not go to Charlestown? I'm forgetting why I'm not putting guys in Charlestown. Okay. So Charlestown can still be selected, but we'll see if that's what happens. Black 3, red 2. Black 3, red 2, Pennsylvania. Nope. Norfolk. So Norfolk will take one of the units from New York City, and that gives control of Norfolk to the British, or the Royalists. And I think, fast forwarding here, they have to finish, they're done with this because all cities now are British controlled except Charlestown, and for Charlestown to become British controlled, they would need 4 guys to move there, and they only would have 3 coming out of New York City at this point. So okay. So that actually, there's still stuff that happens with these remaining. Oh, gosh, this again is my lack of understanding just the normal rule for garrison. So the rules say then to give each British control city first 1 plus regular if without active support. So the British control cities are Boston, or everything but Charlestown. Then to give each British controlled city first 1 plus regular if without control first 1 plus regular if without active support. I don't know what 1 plus means. If they need to have 1, or I add 1 to... Let me see if it gives more understanding of that in the rule book. Because I'm a little confused on what this is trying to tell me for garrison. When executing movements per the boat, leave 2 more royalist and rebellion pieces. Then move additional regulars first to give each British-controlled city without active support at least 1 regular. They all have at least 1 regular. Then to give each British-controlled city at least 3 British cubes of any types, beginning with those cities that have underground militia. So there is no city currently with underground militia. So then I think we have to go back to the random table, random chart thing to see which city will be getting the 3. So 4 and 1. Black 4, red 1. So we go down, New York City. New York City. Yeah, New York City takes 1 to get back up to 3. All right, so now they're back to 3. I think that's what what that rule is saying. Oh yeah, it's to activate more. So it wants to have at least 3 to help with the activate militia thing. That's what this is all about, which then it makes it more clear to why we're doing the garrison stuff, or why we're putting then to give each British at least 3 British cubes. Okay, so then we roll for the next city, I'm assuming. We get our 3, a black, a 6, and a 3. That's Massachusetts. No, so we start at the beginning, Quebec City. And there we go, I think. Well, yeah, Quebec City would at least get 1. Because I think it's just... I think the thing is just plus 3 cubes, which includes the Tory cubes. Yeah. So Quebec only needs 1, which means we still are randomly rolling here for the last space, 3 and 2. Black 3, red 2, Pennsylvania, then Norfolk. So 1 to Norfolk won't give 3 plus. Charlestown, we can't. Savannah won't give 3 plus. Boston wouldn't give 3 plus with that remaining. Quebec City already has 3 plus, and New York City already has 3 plus. So I assume then it just stays put. Because that's not really clarified in the playbook. So if anyone understands that rule, definitely chime in here. All right. All of that, and now we have concluded. I'm going to turn on autofocus on this side camera. I don't like autofocus, but I'm hoping it will start helping with this. Yeah. It will help. Because I keep moving things around, so apologize for that. I was going to say, this camera's better than what it was looking like. Okay, so what does all this mean? U.S. have taken their turn. British now have taken their turn. The limited command. They paid their 2 resources. So, I need to double check too if limited command means all of what I just did is not even allowed. If they really could have only used one. Well, limited command doesn't really... I need to double... Maybe I just need to look at the general rules for garrison. Oh, if a limited command, all moving British regulars must end in a single destination city. So I did do all of that wrong. I did it basically if it was not a limited command. So I need to do a lot of backtracking. Which is good, really good for the U.S. because that was a really powerful turn otherwise. But I think Savannah... We had a cube start in Florida. We had a cube... So the cubes in Philadelphia, I think, are definitely the cubes that will be moved. Damn it. And so... I think Quebec would not have gone. Boston would definitely not have gone then. So just Philadelphia. Yeah, I think now it's right. Was it in one? I can't quite remember the origin of the cubes that ended up going to Philadelphia. We'll say it's like this. So that was a good catch. An unfortunate catch. And I don't really understand... I wanted to see if there was something about AI and limited command, because I assume that if they can only do a limited command, they can only do a limited command, and they don't just get a automatically do a full command. Oh, command's not limited. Whenever a non-player faction by the sequence of play is to execute a limited command, it instead executes a full command and special activity. And a special activity. Wow. So I double messed up. So garrison was supposed to be done then with naval pressure. If FNI engage, if FNI is greater than 0, otherwise, offending add 1 plus D3 resources. Wow! Oh my gosh. Okay, so first of all, let's backtrack a lot here. Oops. So the garrison command actually comes with this naval pressure. And naval pressure says if FNI is greater than 0, blah, blah. So we roll a D3. It's a 1. So British now, we'll just put them back. We'll put them up to 4 because they're still doing the garrison. And the garrison did exactly what we originally had it do. Which was, I think, we had an extra there, and we had one in Boston. We had, we had one in Norfolk. We must have had one in Savannah. Now, was that correct? I think that's now right. Okay. So, after all of that, we now will actually end this campaign by moving U.S. or the Patriots and British over to ineligible. And we go over to the side for the cards here, and this card's now done, so we move over. We move to Stockbridge Indians. Flip over the next one, and Stockbridge Indians happens to have the Indians as the very first card. So let's see. Let's look at the AI chart for the Indians, wherever I put that. Oh, gosh. Let's see if they would use this card or event card or not. So for the Indians, it says check event, then play event. If any, opposition is greater than support. It is. And event shifts opposition in royalist favor. Nope. Event places at least one Indian village or grants a free gather. No. Event removes a patriot fort. Nope. Event is effective. 4+ villages on the map. No. Okay. So no event. Support plus 1d6 is greater than opposition. So let's do that die roll. A d6. 2. So 2 plus support. Support right now is 3, so 5. It's 5 greater than the opposition, which is at 5. The answer is no. So we do a raid. And a raid says raid opposition colonies with / adjacent to underground So I assume this means command and special activity. Okay, so this is asking me to double first in a province where raid command in war parties exceed rebellion pieces. All right, so raid up to 3 provinces with or adjacent to underground war parties and at opposition. I see that's the case for Massachusetts being adjacent to Quebec. No, it's not adjacent to Quebec. So it's adjacent to New York. Man, there's not... Where is all this opposition? I guess it's 4... Yeah, that's it. Okay. So New York is the only raid opposition colonies with adjacent underground war parties. Oh, with as well. So I think it's... Oh, they have 0 resources, though. So I don't think they can plunder... So then they go to gather. Place villages where room and... where room and 3+ war parties. There's no space with 3+ war parties, so then place war parties at villages. There's only 2 on the map. So the first were enemies, which would be up here in Quebec because there's enemies there. Then the other villages southwest. Oh, wait. That costs resources. Oh, first province if an Indian province is free. So I guess they can only do it in Quebec. Okay. So going back to the chart, gather. If any villages available, place war parties in 2 spaces with room for a village. First, where exactly 2 parties already, then where exactly 1 war party, then random. Okay. I gotta read the gather rule section. Gather rule. It was a little confusing for me. Place a village in each space with room for 1 and at least 3 war. Okay, we don't do that. Then place war parties at villages. First, where there are enemy pieces. Then, where there are no underground war parties. Then, with the Indian leader. Then, random. So I think the number of may instead either place war parties up to 1 plus number of villages. So I think they get 2 in Quebec since there was already a village there. Then, if any villages are available, place war parties in up to 2 spaces with room for a village. So I'm really confused by this third bullet point. Then, if any villages are available, place war parties in up to 2 spaces with room for a village. First, where there are exactly 2. Okay. I think we ignore that. So after gather, we do warpath. If Indian resources are 0, trade if possible. Okay. Trade. If underground war party is at any village, first request resources from the British. If no resources given, trade in the village space with most underground war. Alright, so trading with the British, that's something that I'll need to... If Indians request trade and Indian resources are less than British resources, roll 1d6. If the roll is less than British... Alright, here we talk about trade. If Indians request trade and Indian resources are less than British resources, roll 1d6. If the roll is less than British resources, offer to transfer resources equal to half, round up, number rolled to Indian resources. Okay, so we roll a d6. D6 is 6. Which is, if the roll is less than British resources, which it's not. So trade. If no resources are given, which there's not, trade in the village space with the most underground war parties. Okay, so they're going to do that. Greater than 1, then transfer that one. If not, then activate 1 underground war party in the selected resource space and add. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. For the Indians, they're going to flip 1 here to give themselves 1 resource, and that's the Indians' turn. We'll pause.